The sun was beginning to set over Los Angeles, casting a golden glow over the city. Keanu Reeves leaned against the side of his trailer, taking a deep breath. After months of shooting on location, he was finally wrapping up his latest film and heading back home. The production had been grueling but rewarding, and he was looking forward to some much-needed rest. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever rescued an animal in need or witnessed an act of kindness that changed a life? Whether it was saving a stray, helping a lost pet find its home, or simply showing compassion to an animal in distress, share your story in the comments below. Your experiences remind us that kindness has the power to make a real difference. Now, let's get into the story. As he climbed onto his motorcycle, he relished the thought of riding through the familiar streets of LA. The city had always been a place of inspiration for him, both in his work and personal life. The roads, the people, the energy, it all felt like home. He started his bike and rode off, enjoying the cool evening breeze as he navigated through the bustling traffic, weaving between cars with the ease of an experienced rider. Just as he was passing through a quieter neighborhood, his peaceful ride was shattered by the sudden screech of tires and a loud, pained yelp. His eyes widened as he saw a biker speeding recklessly down the road. In an instant, the rider had hit a small, scruffy dog, sending it flying into a ditch before disappearing around a corner without stopping. Keanu's heart pounded as he immediately pulled over and ran toward the injured animal. His breath caught in his throat when he saw the dog, a small, malnourished mutt with patchy fur, whimpering in pain. Blood stained its fur, and one of its legs was bent at an unnatural angle. It was clear the dog had been struggling even before the accident. Its ribs were visible beneath its thin coat, a clear sign of starvation and neglect. "You're gonna be okay, buddy," Keanu murmured, carefully wrapping the trembling dog in his jacket. He could feel the animal's labored breathing against his chest as he held it close and carried it to his motorcycle. The dog barely had the strength to lift its head, but as Keanu cradled it, the warmth of human kindness seemed to soothe its pain. Without wasting another second, he drove straight to the nearest veterinary hospital. As he rushed inside, the receptionist's eyes widened in surprise. "I need help," Keanu said, his voice urgent yet gentle. "This dog was hit by a biker. He needs immediate care." The vet, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, took one look at the injured dog and nodded. "We'll do everything we can." As the medical team worked on the dog, Keanu paced anxiously outside the treatment room. Minutes felt like hours, and the sight of the helpless creature haunted him. When the vet finally emerged, she gave him a reassuring smile. "He's badly injured, but he's a fighter," she said. "His leg is broken, and he's severely malnourished, but with proper care, he'll recover." Relief washed over Keanu. "I'll take care of him," he said without hesitation. And just like that, a bond was formed. Over the next few weeks, Keanu devoted himself to the little dog's recovery. He named him Lucky, a fitting name, considering how close he had come to losing his life. Keanu brought Lucky home and set up a cozy space for him, ensuring he had all the warmth and comfort he needed. Every day, he hand-fed him, changed his bandages, and spoke to him in soothing tones. At first, Lucky was hesitant, flinching at sudden movements and cowering in corners. It broke Keanu's heart to see how much fear and pain the little dog had endured. He would often wake up in the middle of the night to find Lucky whimpering in his sleep, his tiny body trembling as if haunted by past nightmares. Keanu would sit beside him, gently stroking his fur and whispering reassurances until Lucky calmed down. One evening, as Keanu sat on the floor beside Lucky's bed, he noticed the dog staring at him with big, soulful eyes. Slowly, Lucky crawled toward him, resting his head against Keanu's knee for the first time. Keanu felt his throat tighten. It was a silent moment of trust, more powerful than any words could express. "You're safe now, little guy," Keanu whispered, gently rubbing Lucky's ears. "No one's ever gonna hurt you again." As days turned into weeks, Lucky slowly began to trust again. He wagged his tail whenever he saw Keanu and would hobble toward him despite his injured leg. Keanu found himself growing more and more attached to the scrappy mutt. Every morning, Lucky would wake Keanu up by nudging his arm with his cold, wet nose, demanding attention. Keanu would laugh, scratching Lucky behind the ears before carrying him outside for some fresh air. Despite his injuries, Lucky was determined to move, hopping on 3 legs as he followed Keanu around the house. One particular evening, after a long day on set, Keanu returned home exhausted. He flopped onto the couch, sighing heavily. Moments later, he felt a small weight press against his side. Lucky had jumped up and curled beside him, resting his head on Keanu's chest. "You missed me, huh?" Keanu murmured, smiling as he ran his fingers through Lucky's softening fur. The dog let out a content sigh, closing his eyes. Keanu felt a warmth spread through his chest. In that moment, it didn't matter how tiring his day had been. Lucky was safe, and that was all that mattered. Keanu even brought Lucky to the film set, where the cast and crew quickly fell in love with the resilient little dog. The once timid stray now had an entire family doting on him. Lucky, in turn, seemed to enjoy the attention, basking in the love and warmth he had been deprived of for so long. Despite the joy Lucky brought into his life, Keanu couldn't shake the anger he felt toward the biker who had left the dog for dead. He knew he couldn't just let it go. Justice needed to be served. Determined to find the culprit, Keanu reached out to an old friend, Detective Marcus Bennett, a seasoned police officer who had worked on several hit-and-run cases before. "Marcus, I need your help," Keanu said, explaining the situation. "That guy needs to be held accountable." Marcus nodded. "I'll see what I can find." With Marcus's connections and Keanu's determination, they managed to track down security footage from nearby traffic cameras. The footage revealed a license plate number, leading them to a known troublemaker named Rick Jensen, a man with a history of reckless driving and animal cruelty complaints. Confronting him wasn't going to be easy, but Keanu wasn't about to back down. For days, Marcus and his fellow officers built a solid case against Rick. They gathered witness statements, analyzed traffic data, and consulted local shelters that had previously reported complaints against him. Marcus pushed hard to ensure that no loophole would allow Rick to escape justice. One evening, with Marcus by his side, Keanu knocked on Rick's door. The man sneered when he saw them. "What do you want?" Rick scoffed. "I don't have time for this." Keanu's expression was calm but firm. "You hit a dog and left it to die. That's not something I can ignore." Rick rolled his eyes. "It's just a stray. Who cares?" Keanu clenched his jaw. "I care. And so does the law." Marcus stepped forward. "We have footage of you fleeing the scene. That's enough to press charges." Rick's smug expression faltered. "Look, man, I didn't mean to." "No excuses," Keanu interrupted. "You need to take responsibility." With the evidence against him, Rick was soon arrested for reckless driving and animal cruelty. Marcus had worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that the case wouldn't be dismissed. Meanwhile, Keanu took to social media to share Lucky's story, using his platform to raise awareness about animal welfare. His story inspired thousands, and soon, donations poured into local shelters, helping countless other strays find loving homes. The day Lucky was finally strong enough to run again was one of the happiest days of Keanu's life. The little dog, once broken and abandoned, was now full of life, his tail wagging furiously as he chased after Keanu on set. As the sun set over the Hollywood skyline, Keanu knelt beside Lucky, ruffling his fur. "We made it, buddy," he said softly. "And this is just the beginning."